The following program is brought to you with limited commercial interruption.
Today's broadcast is being simulcast in broken English.
I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world.
Welcome to the show that we're doing right now.
What the hell are we doing on this show?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Let's go.
What is this?
Giggity, 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 goo.
Who else but
The Q?
it's showtime!
Gentlemen, let's get down to business.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can dig it, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Q. You're listening to the best pop culture, current events, current affairs show east to west of that Mississippi River, hailing from the great city of St. Louis and worldwide at theqnow.com. I am your host, Mark Bland. Ladies and gentlemen, first up today, we have State Senate candidate Michael Sinclair. He's here. He's joining us. Mike Eise and Jason Kull are also joining us today, and maybe the Secret Service are more part of the January 6th issue than we originally thought. A lot to talk about on today's show, but welcome all of you. First up, please give a warm applause and round of welcome to our friends Mike Eise and Jason Kull.
Yes. Hey, what's going on?
It's good to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And also, our guest of honor, thank you so much for joining us here on 105.3 FM, 1280 AM KYRO, Fox News Radio, Michael Sinclair, Missouri State Senate candidate. Welcome to the Q, sir.
Hey, welcome.
Come on, get up closer to that microphone. There you go. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you being here.
I'll steal your glasses right for you leave.
All right, fair enough. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I invited Michael Sinclair to come onto the show, and I think that there's a little background that needs to happen here. Now, Jason, I might have talked with you about this. I might have talked a little bit about Mike with this off the air. Mike's never heard about this except for maybe off the air or something like this. But one of my main reasons for reaching out to the candidates who are a little bit more progressive in their stances is the fact that everyone in this red state of Missouri, right, gets opportunities at every radio and TV station because a lot of them are backed by lobbyists and power players in the world of economics and jobs and labor force and everything else. And they're the ones constantly funneling the monies through advertisements to all these other places. There's not a lot of options in a state where you have Eric Greitens putting out, or no, not Eric Greitens, Eric Schmidt. Putting out commercials about what again, Jason?
Well, you know what? I'm going to listen to it again, but I'm fairly certain. I know he called him a quitter.
It's getting dirty.
He either calls him a wife beater or he mentions physically attacking women. Like it's some
type of abuse.
And he's like out in like a. It looks like he's at a county fair or something.
There is no lines to how the bashing. I mean, it's out of control.
He did resign, and he is accused of physically assaulting his wife.
Oh,
right.
Man.
Terminology aside, I guess
have no idea
Didn't
how
we have him dead to rights on tape?
He was ahead.
Right? How?
Wasn't he dead to rights on tape?
How do you come back from that?
Yeah.
He was on tape, guys. He's dead to rights.
We've discussed it before. Al Franken makes a joke with a fellow comedian in a comedic sense.
And it was obvious. You could tell from the picture it was obvious.
It was obviously.
Like his eyes and everything.
Everyone's in on it until she got some cash.
And of course, he gets kicked. Hardcore, like it becomes the biggest viral.
And we've moved on.
And how is he winning? It's because he has a group that will vote for him no matter what.
That's true.
It's kind of like Trump said once upon a time, you could kill somebody in the street and they would still vote for him. It's like,
he's right.
What are you people doing? It doesn't matter who the person is as long as they fall into your little category, your group.
Now, the reason I brought all this up was, like I said, this idea that the progressives don't have a lot of opportunities. And I wanted to give people who are taking real shots at the state Senate, at the state Congress, like I wanted to give them real shots at being on the radio. Because St. Louis has an NPR station. They're a great NPR station. I really like St. Louis Public Radio. But at the same point, they're not reaching out to all this because they know that there's tons of liberal candidates out there. They're going to have to play to everybody. I understand that. But I don't care. If you want to be a conservative, if Nick Schroer, right? Now, Michael, you could potentially go against Nick Schroer, right?
It is
it's a potential. It's a possibility. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If he wants to come on the show and talk about some stuff after Mike talks about it, or vice versa, if it was the other way around, I have no problem with that. I think that open dialogue is what's the best part about being us. I really do. I feel like the one thing that's great about America is we can go into any bar or any backyard, toss some bags, sit around a fire pit, talk about any topic we want to freely, and we have absolutely no issues with anyone having those conversations. Like, that's the best part about being an American and being in America. And I think that getting that same message out when it's 5 people versus 5,000 people or 50,000 or whatever the number is. Like, I want to make sure that these messages get out. Because I know Nick Schroer's message is getting out for sure. I know Eric Greitens and Eric Schmidt's message is getting out for sure because they got the money, the lobbyists, and the backers to do that. Michael Sinclair might not have all that going for him. I don't know. That's why we're here to talk to Michael Sinclair. So first off, Mike, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Mark, for having me.
You are a St. Charles County resident?
I am, O'Fallon.
Now, you've always lived out here or in this area?
I've been here for close to 20 years now.
20 years in this area. Now, how is this your first time running for office of any sort, or have you run for office before?
So this is my first time running, and
okay.
I am excited about it too. So as you know, Mark, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on the show, giving me a platform where I can share about my campaign, about my political ideology. So, as you know, I'm running for Missouri State Senate District 2.
Correct.
And we'll have the primaries in August 8th, and I'm running unopposed on the Democratic ticket. Now, on the Republican side, we have 2 folks, John Weeman and Nick Schroer, and the winner of that primary will run against me in November.
Okay.
And like I said, I've been living here in O'Fallon, Missouri for close to 20 years. I'm very aware that I'm living in a red state, in a red county.
Very red.
But and still I chose to run as a Democratic candidate because I love swimming against the tide.
Well, I think you want to do things to change. Like, I understand when a person in a red state goes, I want to be a Republican candidate. It's like, okay, yeah, it's an easy way to go, right? You already kind of grow up around it. Like, everything that your life is, your friends, parents, and everybody, they're all conservatives half the time. So, like, it's just a part of who you are. And it's also an easy run, right? Like I said, the opportunities are there. The money is there. The players are there. You just have to be the most popular name out of the other names.
Well, and that's the reason why I've always said that one of the most important things to me is term limits for Congress, House and the Senate. So House and Senate, all of Congress needs term limits because if you're Mitch McConnell and you live there in Kentucky or wherever, you will get voted in every single time, and you will be there 50 years, and you will be out of touch with the people, and you shouldn't be there 50 years. You should have if the president has term limits, why shouldn't
all these positions should have term limits.
So what happens is, just like you said, if you live in this area that's a red area, you run, you win because you're a Republican and you ran a Republican area. But the thing about what you said is you want to turn the tide. Once upon a time, Missouri was purple. It was not so red, you know what I mean, as it is now. But it's red as could be now, and everything pretty much goes that way. And it would be nice to turn the tide back to some Democrats.
And Mike, I'm interesting you talked about term limits because this is one of the platforms on my website. My website is www.sinclairforsenate.com.
Sinclairforsenate.com.
Sinclair for Senate, F-O-R, Senate. .com, and one of the platforms is term limit for Supreme Court judges.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was just getting ready to ask you, where's your stance on term limits? Like, are you in agreement with him overall? Is it just specific things you want term limits for? Or?
So I definitely think we are ready for term limit for Supreme Court judges, and I'll
we're definitely there. We've had that conversation between us,
and I'll tell you a little bit about why I think we need that. So some of the Supreme Court judges have been on the bench for close to 30 years. Some 25 years, like Justice Clarence Thomas has been around for almost 30 years. Now I respect the job that they're doing, the decisions that they're making, but at the same time, they are in a position where once they are nominated and and are on the bench, it's a lifetime employment.
That's right.
It almost gives you an authority to do anything that you want to.
Exactly.
And it's also...
I mean, we are a nation of 330 million beholden to 9 people right now, and that 9 is split 6 and 3. Like, it's not even a true 9 for the people.
True.
The only way for them to they either have to quit or to be impeached, and we've seen the impeachment's not going to work. You're never going to get 2/3, and no one's ever going to have that power.
And you
Correct.
said 6 and 3 in Roe versus Wade. It was 5 and 4.
Right,
That's how
exactly.
close it was.
It's now 6 and 3 because of the moves Trump made.
And in some cases, the Supreme Court judges are out of touch with what the current pulse of the nation is.
Oh, same with
what the people
same
want
with the
today.
Congress.
Yeah, some are out of touch,
Same
and
with
some
our president.
some don't care because they have a lifetime term on the bench. So even if we see Roe versus Wade, 63% of Americans are against the overturning of Roe versus Wade.
Right, the popular
but
opinion
still
is
we
that
have to accept that decision because
that's my point.
5 Supreme Court judges said, let's overturn it.
Because the other 40% figured a way to get their way pushed, their agenda pushed past all the 60%. It's terrible. I mean, then the 60% got to swallow that pill. And we got to live like 40% want us to. It doesn't seem make no sense.
And that's not true democracy.
Of course not.
True democracy is the will of the people.
Oh, yeah.
If in a room of
it should
10
be one
people,
vote, one person.
Yes.
That's it. That's how it should go. And then we just do majority on everything that we go across the board. And we're going to have close things, guys. We're going to have things that are close. But I think that that's the best way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally. Well, and here's a lot of people's argument whenever it comes to they don't want the one vote. Let's say for nationwide, they don't want the one vote because New York and California are going to rule everything. Well, I got news for you, folks. They already do. They have the most of the electoral college votes by far out of any other state. Okay,
I can't believe it. How is it that the state where everybody came with their votes for the first time has the most people ever? It doesn't make sense to me, Mike.
Right. So here I'm going to squash that whole thing about they don't want that because it's going to hurt. Well, actually, it'll help you people to go against California and New York. Why? Because California and New York isn't a landslide one way or the other if you look at it. It's almost 50-50 just like the rest of the country. So the other half
so they kind of cancel
states,
each other. Yeah.
Right. So the other half of that state is now going to vote with you. Whereas right now, their voice is smashed. It doesn't even count because it all goes towards the Democrats or towards, the
whoever
liberal
gets the
side.
majority. Yeah.
Right. So you're wrong. It isn't better or worse for you guys for that to happen. It's actually better. It's better for that to happen because half that state can now vote with you. And as of right now, they can't. And that's how I feel about Missouri and all of them. We all should have one vote.
You never hear them complain about the electoral votes that Texas get.
No, you never hear about that.
It's either as much or a little more than New York.
Now, Mike... Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No. I didn't want to cut you off there. Mike, not you. I was talking. We got 2 mics here, guys. I got Sinclair and I got Eyes over here.
Michael,
I might.
yes, there is a ton of
you can be
mics.
Michael too. Let's just call you Michael. Yeah.
He said there's 3 mics.
3 mics.
There's 3 mics. Correct. Look at you joking around. No, I just wanted a quick question for you because I want people to learn about you. What was a determining factor for you to jump into the race?
Sure. I'm so glad you asked. So like I said, 20 years living in O'Fallon, Missouri, I've been I've experienced firsthand living in a Republican state and a Republican county. And I must admit, living in O'Fallon, Missouri, I've enjoyed. There are certain aspects of living in O'Fallon, raising a family there. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Of course. It's a nice place. It's very quiet for the most part. It's nice.
Elected officials are doing some good work out there, and I want to acknowledge that. At the same time, I also felt that there is need for some improvement, and I believe in continuous improvement. I'm a program manager, so my skill set is continuous improvement. Wherever I see gap, I want to call it out, and if I can help in making an improvement, I want to help there. And this is one way I can contribute to the society and the community that has given me so much over the 20 years.
Fair enough.
That was my motivation to run for office.
I thought that you just got into an argument at a bar with Nick Schroer one night. And you're like, no, he's not going to get one on me. No. And then it was just like, you know what? I'll show you. I wonder how many politicians are that way, though.
You are right.
You know what I'm saying, Jay? Like, I wonder how many politicians are just like, yo, I just doing this out of spite.
And I have to make one comment here.
What
do you know any? Do you know any?
And I have to make this comment, and I'll leave the floor at that. I did. One of my supporters asked me, "Oh, so you're running? What are you angry about?" I said,
"What are you angry about?" That's the question they asked you.
Yeah. And I said, frankly, I'm not angry about stuff. Overall, I kind of like staying in O'Fallon. It's just that there is room for improvement, and that's where I come in.
Right.
You know, there are some
and that's a very
issues.
simplistic, understandable way to approach things that a red state Republican can't understand. But you don't hate something. It's like no, man, you don't have to always hate everything. Like you don't have to constantly be on Twitter yelling and screaming at people, Jason. You don't have to be doing like you just know. But I'm just saying, like you don't always have to be doing something negative to be getting ahead. Like you can be just a normal person who's like, I see improvement needs to be happening here. I know how to help that. I know who to talk to or whatever, and I'm going to bring that to the table. You know, we're going to take a quick break here on the show. When we come back, more with Michael Sinclair, Mr. Eise, as well as our friend Jason Kull. But I got some more questions for you, Mike, because I want everyone to get to know you. I want them to know your platform, and we're going to talk about the fact that there's kind of a lack of there's something that needs to be filled. Maybe me and you can work on that together. We'll talk about that on theCUBE when we get back right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO News Radio, KYRO.com, your Fox News Radio blowtorch out here in the other counties around St. Louis. We are hanging out right now talking to one state Senate candidate, Mr. Michael Sinclair. What's going on, Mike? Are you doing okay?
I'm doing great.
Did the back rub Mike and Jason just give you right before we started back up? Did that feel good? Did you enjoy that?
Mine did for sure.
Well, that was a good one. Hold on, let's let Mike decide here. Mike, was Mike Eise back rub better than Jason Kull's back rub? I need to know these things.
Number one, I enjoyed it, and since I had my back, I didn't know who was giving it, but I enjoyed it.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Hey, what a great politician answer you just gave there. I think you're born for this, Mike. I think you're born for this.
You know, Mike, we were talking about a bunch of different things in that first segment, but I want to kind of like nail down a little bit on you, okay? What do you feel is the biggest issue in Missouri that you would want to attack first if elected? Like, what's the main thing, or whatever you got? You just tell me how many you got. I'll take it all.
Okay, perfect. Again, Mark, I'm glad you asked. So, like I said, I believe in continuous improvement.
Am I glad that I asked? I got to find out.
I am.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Like I mentioned earlier, I believe in continuous improvement. And while I've enjoyed living in O'Fallon, there are some places where there is room for immediate improvement. So when we talk about the most serious issues that the government needs to address, not has a choice to address, but has to address, we talk about life and death issues.
Sure.
Right? Nothing can be more serious than life and death. We have seen that gun violence is the new epidemic that is plaguing our cities. It is killing Americans at an alarming rate. Not only adults, it's children now. Children are getting gunned down for just attending school.
And these same exact Republican, tough guy, don't tread on me with their skulls and everything, they're the ones sitting outside the door for an hour straight. Scared to go in, not going in, worried about it.
Why won't they put in detectors at the front doors? I don't get that.
Absolutely.
I mean,
my high school had metal detectors as I walked into my doors. I never took it personally, you know.
And that's my biggest platform.
And that was in '94.
Absolutely.
Like, that was years ago.
Number one platform, my promise to my constituents, day one on the Senate floor, I plan to introduce common sense gun law reforms. I'm not against the Second Amendment.
What would you consider a common sense gun law reform?
Let me repeat, I'm not against the Second Amendment. I'm a gun owner myself.
Sure.
But
I love
at the
guns
same
too.
time,
we all own them. Yeah, we all got them.
At the same time,
killing
common
machines,
sense
though.
gun reforms. Like, for example, a recent survey was done where it said 63% of the Americans feel it is time to ban assault rifles. Why? Because they are capable of taking lives at an alarming rate. So that is one thing to consider. I'm saying let's consider, let's talk about it, let's discuss it. Other thing is, anytime somebody goes to buy a gun, what is the level of checks and balances in terms of their background checks, right?
Now there is a national standard, right? Correct. There's a national standard that currently stands. It's a 7-day background check, correct?
Let me tell you this: here in Missouri,
sure,
you don't need any dang thing.
This is an open carry.
One of the peoples I was with a couple weekends ago.
But wait, we're talking about the buying of the gun, though, Mike.
That is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Let me finish. I was at a flea market, and they walked right up to a guy and said, "How much for that handgun?" He said $200. I gave him $200, and he walked away with the
Missouri
handgun.
has no
Guess what
private
paperwork he filled out? None. Guess what? Anything he did? None. You can just go buy a gun.
I thought but no. So correct me. Help me out here. Because I want to learn with the people. I want to learn with the people.
If you buy from an individual
in Missouri,
you have to fill out zero paperwork.
And that's anywhere. That's at a gun shop. That's anywhere.
Anywhere. From a person. From an individual.
If they don't have a
now, isn't there a federal background check that's supposed to be being adhered to?
There is a basic background
for certain weapons.
For a licensed dealer.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
The guys at flea markets are just that's like a yard sale.
You're buying it from an individual.
And those
I'm absolutely flabbergasted. I did not realize this, guys. I own guns. It wasn't, and it's not like I had to go through a bunch of jumping. I'm just saying.
I don't know, 15 years, 10, 15 years.
So about 10 to 15 years now.
When they call the gun show loophole.
Yeah. In Missouri.
I did not realize it gotten to that point. I thought it was still, if you went to a gun show, you bought a lot, they were like, okay, we need to get your information. We send it through. It has to come back, no red flags.
If he's a licensed dealer and he's at that flea market or that show.
If he's not a licensed dealer, you can buy it from an individual right now. You can sell somebody your gun for
And you said the
$200
federal background check, it's there. But it's not enough to prevent you from selling gun to a person who has a violent history, who has made violent social media posts, who's waiting to take this gun and go and kill somebody. There is no check and balance to stop that person from buying. So we need to increase those checks and balances.
Especially with those, like you said, those weapons that are made to kill mass amounts of people at a time.
Right.
There should at least be okay, you want to buy this gun? Sure. Let's put it off to the side. Yeah. Let's go through all these checks. Let's look into your social media. Let's look into your history with violence, or if you've had a rap sheet or anything. And then you can have the gun. Okay? To go do whatever you do with it. But keep it away from your crazy kid or whatever it is. Right. And if you have a crazy kid, maybe we don't let you have it. I don't know.
And that's why we call it common sense gun law reform.
Right. All right, so we got common sense gun law reforms. That's one thing. What else? You said you have a few others. What are some of your other things you want to attack for the state of Missouri specific?
Sure. This is one of the biggest things that I'm attacking related to gun. Another thing that it is related but not exactly the same. I'm seeing one of the reasons why Missouri lawmakers are not able to pass gun reforms is the fact that they're getting so much money from the gun lobby, which fuels their campaigns, which gets them elected. For sure. So here's the situation now. Think about me. If I'm getting $4 million for my campaign in my lifetime from one particular organization, why would I go against that organization on anything? Even if I...
Good point.
So NRA...
They're paying them off.
If NRA gives me $4 million for my campaign, even if I don't agree with them, I will keep supporting them because they will give me my paycheck.
Absolutely.
Wait, weren't you the one telling me that you knew someone, you just knew of someone who works in the world of getting money from companies?
Yes.
For politicians?
Yes. So she's actually a political science major, and her job is to figure out ways for companies to give money to candidates legally. And that's what her job is. And
so she finds loopholes.
She finds loopholes
technically creates them or
does
finds
wording and does gifting in a way that it's totally legal to bribe these politicians for corporations.
So it's easy for an NRA company like that
NRA
to turn around
all day,
and do this all day long.
They don't hire her because they have their own.
Well, they could. I'm just saying the general.
Yes,
this is how they go about this.
The NRA is they're the pros.
They got their hands in everything.
They buy every politician they can.
Do you think that they buy them? No. I actually thought about this, guys. Hear me out for 1 second. I don't know if that they necessarily have to buy them. I think that they're giving money to these guys, but I think most of the time these people are finding their way like the bug to the light in the middle of the summer night, on their own. And when they get there, they're like, oh, you got money and you own a company? Here, hold on, let me hook you up with so-and-so. And then that's how it formulates. Like, I don't think it's the NRA literally goes and searches out anyone. I'm sure they do, but I'm just saying in general.
Definitely do.
But I'm just saying in general, I don't think that they have to search much. I think naturally, because of who they are, it draws the gun lovers anyway, and that guy is going to throw money down.
Well, there's political lobbyists and political connections that happen because you have that seat, and then they come to you and say, hey, what connections do you need? What are you looking for? I can get this done for you.
An entity like the NRA, they buy in more, not so much the money that they provide, but that rating that they put out.
Oh, yeah, that
if
too.
you're a Republican running in a district,
they want that rating,
in a primary, and they don't give you money because you're kind of against certain things, they give you like an F, you're done. You're not going to win.
You should just get the NRA on your side, Mike, and then literally take their money and then go do gun lobby stuff. Like literally do your thing with their money against them. Why not? They don't care. Like, they'll pull it away from you eventually, but you'll get something done.
Yeah, there are politicians that do that.
They do. If you see my Twitter, I did get endorsement letter. I did get a survey from NRA and Missouri Firearm Coalition, both of them. And I did not fill it because I'm not seeking their endorsement, because that's against my principle. I'm okay if I lose the election. I can still sleep peacefully at night, but I cannot sleep peacefully if I compromise on my principles to win an election.
Of course.
Great answer, Mike.
That's where I'm at.
I think Mike Eise is going to become like a running partner of yours by the end of this conversation.
I got
He's like,
one more.
yeah, you got great answers, man. I'm really loving where you're going.
One more today.
I like it. It's the mics.
All right, so you got that. So we got guns. Then we got your tangent you just talked about. What else do you got on your table?
Another thing I believe is I've been in this country 22 years and I love it here. I'm living the American dream. I believe this is the land of the free, home of the brave. Right?
Okay.
Now I feel there is a systematic
breakdown.
In some ways, some freedoms are being taken away. For example, the Roe versus Wade overturning. Now we are saying the Roe versus Wade has been overturned, so of course abortion is illegal. And not only that, Missouri has a trigger law in place where they are saying even for rape and incest.
Yes.
There is no exception.
There is no exception.
That's horrible. God forbid a young girl gets raped or is a victim of incest. You are saying, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Please go ahead with the whole process.
God doesn't want you to have any choice on that. So
well, they said that
that bothers me.
These trigger laws in other states that happened the moment that it was overturned have caused a lot of confusion for different women's procedures. And it's causing a lot of...
I've got one right now, Jay.
And it's like, even Missouri had that extra weird part of theirs that even if you're a non-resident, if you were in Missouri, and I don't know how they could do this, but if they could prove your baby was conceived while you were in Missouri... their laws extend to you if you go to a state that's insane.
Wait a minute. This definitely didn't happen from Republicans who hate government overreach.
Actually,
they hate government overreach.
Right, but they're the ones who created all these laws.
They don't like government overreach, but the underreach into...
Yeah, I mean, it is overreach.
So recently there was discussion of a woman being pregnant not being allowed to get divorces in the state of Missouri. Many think this is an archaic idea. I agree that this is an archaic idea. And just for the sake of context, so everybody knows, they're not basically the Missouri ruling states that if there's a fetus or a baby of any sort, it has to be born before they are willing to come down with a decision on how it affects the parents one way or the other. So that's where the woman who's pregnant is not allowed to get divorced. So she can be separated. She can't get a divorce that's finalized until after the baby's born.
That almost makes sense.
Where do you stand on something like that? Because I feel like that goes down that same road. Like we're messing with women's rights too much.
Absolutely. Anytime it's simple. Anytime you are forcing a decision on a woman and not giving her a choice, or any individual, for a man, a child, any human being, when you're forcing a decision on them, not giving them a choice, that's a problem. This is the land of the free. Let's not forget, this is the land of the free. Let's give them enough freedoms to make their own decisions. They are smart. They are intelligent. they have to go through the consequences of bearing a child and delivering a child and then raising that child.
Right.
Where will you be when they are raising the child? Will you be in the picture, all these lawmakers? How are you going to support that woman?
I think a lot of people don't realize that land of the free doesn't mean your way and everybody's just like you.
My way or the highway.
I mean, because the land of the free is actually just the opposite. There's going to be a whole bunch of people that aren't like you and do things not like you, and you may not like, or maybe you do like, or whatever, but you're going to have to get over it because that is what freedom really is. If
everybody just living their life the way they would like.
Whoville. I mean, we don't all live exactly the same. It isn't how it works.
Even in Whoville, they didn't all live the same. They all had different houses with different mechanisms and things.
So freedom of difference of opinion, right, Mike?
Exactly.
I agree. Freedom of difference of opinion, respecting each other's opinion.
Enforcing your opinion, whatever it may be, on other people is not freedom.
All right, let's get dirty here for a second, Mike. Let's get dirty here for a second, Mike. We only got a minute left here before we have to take a break. Who's just not a good candidate? You don't think? Who's the one that you're just like, no, you definitely don't want that person. You don't, and it could be a national person, it could be a state person. It doesn't matter to me. Like who are you just like? No, we don't need that.
So there are two Republican candidates who will be running in the primary: John Wieman and Nick Schroer.
Right.
And I don't want to say somebody's bad or somebody's good.
Do you have a relationship with either of these two gentlemen?
So I got an opportunity to meet both of them in person during the Chamber of Commerce luncheon we had this week.
I wasn't even invited. It's as if this liberal radio show doesn't even exist in the world of red state politics. It's so weird. It's so weird. But hey, continue on. All 12 people in the room. Let me know. How did it go?
It went very well. We all had our opportunities. We made our speeches. We shared our platform. And for me, just because if you're a political rival doesn't mean you have to be enemies.
Right.
We can live under, I'll take a simple example. I have two teenagers. One teenager is 15-year-old. He disagrees with me almost on everything, but I still love him and he loves me.
Fair.
And we are stay under the same roof. So
he'll love you again when he's 35, and then he looks back and goes, "Oh my God, my mom and dad went through hell. I love them."
Phases, right? So, and I had a chance to talk to Mr. John Wieman, and I said, "Mr. John Wieman, we are political rivals. We don't have to be enemies," and I think we agreed on that. So let's see. I'm looking forward to whoever.
Who would you rather go against, Schroer or Wieman?
I don't.
You don't have a care one way or the other. Seriously,
I don't really care about that. I'm looking forward to a good, healthy competition.
All right, fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here on KYR. More with us when we return. We'll be back after this.
Sit by myself, talking to the moon.
Pull up the single turn up. Pull up the single turn up.
Welcome back to the Q. Mark Bland, joined today by, what's your name again?
Jason Kull.
And what's your name again?
Put me on the spot. What is my name?
What is your name again?
Mike Eise.
Mike Eise, and as well as
Michael Sinclair.
There he is, running for state senate here in Missouri. He's going up against Nick Schroer as well as John Wieman. That is supposed to be August 2nd?
I believe it's 8th.
Is it? I thought it was the 2nd. That was the day after my wife's birthday.
Okay, you're probably
because her birthday's on the 1st.
You know what? I'm pretty sure it's the 2nd because I actually looked it up because I cannot wait until Greitens and Schmidt go at it. I mean,
now you saw that idiot Eric Schmidt says he will swing a big stick in Washington, right?
Right. What is he talking
As a junior senator, like think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Like guys like Eric Schmidt don't get it. Okay, this is why everybody in the Republican Party hated Barack Obama so much when he first got elected to the Senate because he was a junior senator. He was not like the big dog on the hill. He wasn't Paul Ryan, and he wasn't Speaker of the House. He was just a small dude doing 1 year in his Senate run before he ran for president. Yeah. And it's like, I'm going to do all this stuff with my big stick. It's like, dude, you don't even understand. Like, for the first 3 years of you even trying to be a senator, or in this, well, he's going for senator. Yeah. You're going to be a junior senator. You're not going to have any control at all. You're going to do whatever McCarthy or whoever tells you to do.
Well,
like, that's just the way it works.
It's like going to jail or something. You're going up with the groups. You know what I mean? It's like,
sure,
hey,
this is a way to open up their game.
And then you're in our gang over here. here, so we're going to push for this.
Sure.
This is what we're pushing for.
So Greitens is going to get the big
And actually, I have
Nazi
talked.
tattoo.
Oh my God!
I've talked.
American History X.
I've talked to Matt Blunt. I've talked to a few other individuals who have been at the higher positions in our United States government, and I've talked to them and asked them, like, what's the thing that all of them have the biggest problem that happens with the Senate or the Congress every single time. He told me, as well as she did, the first 6 months. They get put into these subcommittees like you're talking about to like do different things, and you're a team for this subcommittee. And other people want other people from other subcommittees in their subcommittees, but they refuse to put them together because they know that if they put them together, it's too much power and it's going to turn something in. And it's like, guys, no. Listen, I need you guys to be like, well, I used to say Elon Musk. I don't do that anymore because I found out he just bought the company. He's not smart. He didn't create anything special. He just threw the money down on the table and took over a company. So he's not some genius, okay? But like I'm thinking of like scientists. Like if you're going to do something, you want the best players together at all times to get the best optimal results. That's all I care about. I mean, I would agree. Wouldn't you guys agree that that's what we want? The best optimal results every single time?
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
I can't...
Actually, I don't even care where it comes from. If the best optimal result is a Republican idea,
and that's actually one of the things.
That's a problem for Republicans. And Mike, I'm sorry to cut you on that, but that's a problem for Republicans.
Yeah, they don't want
other people's ideas. They want their ideas. Whereas a liberal or a progressive tends to be a little more open-minded. And if a great idea comes from a Republican, they're willing to run with it. They really are.
Right.
With you.
Some of them are all about the win, though. They want their idea to get pushed through, and that's the win. All they care about is the win. They want their stuff to go through, and it's like, yeah, but it's just not going to be good overall for everybody.
That's why I dislike people like Jim Jordan. Not just because of how he is and how he acts, but he's been in Congress for like 10 years, I think. This would be his 10th
and nothing
year.
has happened underneath
he has
him.
If there's term limits, he
has never sponsored a bill
something like that.
or co-sponsored a bill.
Think about that.
In 10 years. Yet he runs his mouth every single day on Twitter. He gets in.
And they hate those politicians. They always hate those politicians. But the problem is the politicians are the ones who do this and like being in government and trying to work on these problems. They actually will submit their answers and their votes for different things. They never act the way you act, Manchin, or anybody else. Like, it doesn't matter. Who were you talking about?
Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan. I'm sorry, I said Manchin, but same thing, same difference. There is the Liz Cheneys of the Republican Party, and then there's the Marjorie Taylor Greens, and it's like I'm just going to yell all the time, and I'm not going to do anything of any value. Whereas the Liz Cheney's like, I'm actually going to vote on this or abstain from this, or I'm going to do this or that.
Well,
like I'm going to try.
One's pandering to a group, and the other one's fighting against a group for what she believes in. Which I totally,
for sure.
And that's the thing with
Liz Cheney, man, good for her.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Republicans.
Standing up for what she believes
Now,
in.
Mike, the January 6th stuff has been going on now. The hearings have been going on for a few months. We've seen quite a few bombshells being dropped. We all think, and I would assume that you agree. It seems as though Donald Trump, for sure, was a conspirator in this situation in some form or fashion and deserves some type of an accountability or punishment for what he has done. Where's your stance on this January 6th thing? I know you obviously don't like it, but like,
sure.
What were your feelings on it, and where do you stand?
So I remember January 6th. I was home. I was watching TV, and frankly, I couldn't believe that I'm watching reality. It was almost like I'm watching a movie. I said, how is this possible?
It didn't look real. It really did.
How can somebody overthrow democracy like this?
Right, are these actors right now? Like,
I said,
now, did you go for your gun? Did you go for your gun and like get your gun ready in case some stuff went down? Because I bet you in a red state like this, there were a lot of people that were like, oh no, it's getting ready to happen. I'm going to go get my stuff and make sure it's ready to go. And I'm sure they're really
live in O'Fallon, and you can probably look out your window or your door right there, and you hear birds tweeting, and nothing's really going on. So there's not really nothing to get excited about.
All right, I'm just asking, guys, because I feel like there would be a lot of that going on.
So I watched it in disbelief, but I'm really happy that there's a formal, proper process that is handling what happened, who were the people involved, and putting them through the proper legal process, right? Everybody who was involved directly or directly.
So anyway.
Yes. The commission. So far, the commission is making sure that they're doing a thorough job.
Oh, they're doing a very thorough job. I agree.
It
seems like they are.
Because I hope it's not all just a show, and there's something that comes out of this.
So far, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and say, commission, keep doing your job. keep bringing out the truth. Everything is on camera.
If you watch
You
the
just can't
truth
deny
of
it.
this commission, I don't know how you can still support the guy.
Everything is on camera.
It's unbelievable.
So I like the process that is taking place, and I hope once the process is done, we'll all be satisfied. Whether we are Republicans, whether we are Democrats, whether we are independent, we live in a democracy, and we want to live in a democracy. This situation almost took our democracy away from us.
Totally. I mean, it's like almost a civil war almost. And you watch some of them videos and you see some of the people like poking their head through the window going, if you go down that hallway and you go to the left, there's a blah, blah, blah that will lead you. They're like telling them how to get to every place. Like they have it mapped out and they have it planned and everything. It's
Well,
like,
that one, was it a senator or congressman? They had him on video showing the one guy, and he was taking pictures of the stairwell.
Oh, yeah. The one
taking pictures of
congressman.
something to head.
The one congressman took everybody on a tour.
I've taken a Capitol tour. I never took a picture of a stairwell.
And there was like
ever.
stuff to
A
take
bathroom.
pictures of behind.
There was a picture of a bathroom door.
Yeah.
Mike, we talked about Eric Schmidt earlier in his big stick.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's going to go to Washington, D.C. with a big stick. And I feel like in a red state where he's the attorney general, he's got a lot of power, a lot of political
Did the big
friends.
stick commercial replace the blowtorch tomorrow?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe it's all the same thing. It could be at the end of the blowtorch commercial. I can't remember.
Wait, have you seen the one with Eric Schmidt where he's talking about the Cardinals and he's hitting balls?
No.
And he's got.
You must be watching.
That's the big stick.
Okay, it's an obvious. It's an obvious. It's an obvious wooden baseball
bat.
bat.
I did see that.
But yet they've overlaid. Ding!
Yeah, I know.
Ding! But it's an
sounds metal.
obvious wooden bat.
I never even noticed that.
Yes, guys.
I never even noticed that.
Welcome to the Missouri media players in the political world. Like that's how little they pay attention to their own
a car
stuff.
horn. I mean,
I never even noticed that.
every time he hits it.
Now, Mike, I mentioned this earlier. I've reached out to a lot of liberals asking them to be involved with my show, to be around it. But I've gotten little response from them.
Yeah.
And I've brought up multiple times the Candace Owens, the Ben Shapiro's, the different people on the Republican side. They get a lot of promotion and sharing and people commenting and helping get the word out. And I was wondering, I was curious, because you're a progressive candidate that runs around in that world. Why do you think this is? Why do you think that the libs don't tend to, or the Democrats don't tend to share or promote as much? Maybe I'm just missing it. Even though I'm right here in the red state and there's opportunities to do these things, I don't see it. Why do you think this is?
And I can tell you that, Mark, that the group of candidates that I have, we all belong to the St. Charles County Democratic Committee.
Sure.
So I have a group of 8-9 folks, and we support each other in our campaigns. We share ideas, we share resources, and I'm definitely going to tell them about your show.
No, I appreciate that.
And believe
but I was
me,
just
Mark,
curious about the general reasoning.
General, I don't know. So for me, you connected with me, and I connected with you, and I was eager to come on your show, right?
Right.
I'm not sure if you had one-on-one connection with those people.
Sure.
And I'll make sure. I'll make sure that you will get.
And listen. I'm not bringing it up to like nail anyone or like. I was just curious because maybe because I'm like, who's ever going to be against good government? Like, who's ever going to be against that? So, like, if I'm trying to promote the ideas of good government and bring people on to promote those ideas, I can't see why anybody who believes the same thing would be like, no. And this is why a liberal show, or not a liberal show, a conservative show, like here on this Fox radio station that we're on right now, like, why they can easily get a Nick Schroer, or they could get other people that'll come on and do that, because they're willing to do that. They're willing to just share.
And Mark, even if you were a Republican-leaning show, I would still have come here because I want people to know about my platform. Now, after I share my platform, it's up to you whether you agree or disagree, whether you vote for me or not. But I want all the platform that I can get to share my platform with people. I have a lot of Republican friends. It's impossible not to have Republican friends in Missouri.
Correct.
Right? Well, so we all have Republican friends.
They suck. I know.
Not to mention at a state level in a primary situation, every vote counts for real. I mean, because the reality of it is basically old people are voting. There's not a whole lot of people out voting in primaries. You have to get to the small audience.
We don't teach it. I don't think we teach it anymore. I don't think over the last 20 years we really teach the idea. Like, when I was getting ready to vote for the first time in 96 in that election, or wait, let me see. It was, 96. I was excited. Like, I was like, I get to vote for the first time.
Right.
I get to vote for the first time. I get to do something. Remember the first time I got to buy a pack of cigarettes or a beer? Like, all those moments, like driving a car for the first time. We don't really push. Like, I've talked about this on the show before. So many kids, and you have a 18-year-old?
I have an 18-year and a 15-year-old.
18 and 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of kids nowadays, they're not trying to get their driver's license. There's a lot of kids who don't even try to get their driver's license. They don't care. It's not a big moment for them. They don't try to like be the student driver. We had high school classes, literally, that were driving classes.
You know what? One thing too about voting, why it's more exciting than say being of age to drink or smoke, is it's the only thing that you need to be a certain age that you can't do before you're that age.
That's true.
You know, in high school you can drink all you want.
Sure.
Find someone to buy for you. You can't go.
You can only vote when you need to vote. And here's the other thing too with the voting. I feel like maybe part of the problem is they're not connecting technologically to the way that this new younger Generation Z millennials,
they'd rather vote from home.
how they want to handle
I agree
it.
with that. I mean, the social media portion
But that's what I'm saying.
politics is like I
It's out there,
think
but the
social media
voting
should
aspect,
say
Mike.
no politics, because it's become like
But no, I'm talking
too
about
much
the
propaganda.
But wait, I'm talking about the physical.
And then it's like, oh, you're taking that off there. Why are you suppressing my views and blah blah? Because they're not true.
I'm not
That's
talking.
why.
I'm not talking about the fact that they have the politics infused into their social media. I'm talking about their physical process to be able to vote. It's still the idea of you got to go to a specific place to punch the machine, and I don't think that speaks to the younger generation the way we all kind of grew up with parents from a different generation. So it spoke to them. They spoke to us.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think the entire government wants young people to vote? Because I think there's a lot of politicians that are not interested.
I don't know, guys. I feel like the AOCs are out there. They are like connected but they're connected with the young people, and eventually you're going to get more AOCs and young people because as we all get older, they become the 40-year-olds who decide, oh, I want to get into politics. So that's going to happen naturally.
Currently, though, I think there's a lot of politicians that are not interested in
young people voting. No. I think you're right. I think we should definitely change the election system. We should go to one person, one vote. Popular vote.
Without a doubt.
I don't, guys. I understand why the Electoral College was important. I don't have a problem with the Electoral College the way it stands. I get all the basics for why it's set up the way it is, and it's fine. But I think we're beyond that now. I think we've gone beyond that technologically and outgrown it. That's it. That's where I'm at.
And it puts us in camps and all this stuff, and not to mention here in Missouri, and all your conservative friends in California and New York, like I talked about, their voice is squashed. But here in Missouri, my voice is squashed. It is not. My voice for president is gone. My state is going.
It kind of is right, yeah, because of the Electoral College. Your vote doesn't really count.
Well, think about it.
So that drives me nuts.
Two of the last three Republican wins for president lost the popular vote.
Lost the popular vote. Had to rely on the Electoral College.
Let me ask you this: the first time when T-Rump won, did he win the popular vote also?
No, he lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton.
That drives me nuts.
He lost by 8 million to Biden and 6 million to Hillary Clinton.
See, all you're doing is you're just manipulating the system to win if you don't win the popular vote.
There it is.
There it is.
So again, just like the term limit, is this true democracy? Because if majority of the people wanted candidate A and still the candidate B won, is that true democracy?
It's manipulation.
It's not.
It's manipulation of the system.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break here on KYRO. When we come back, we're going to have to put our boy Mike Sinclair on the Budweiser hot seat. I love to do it. We're going to put him on the hot seat. We'll be back on the queue after this.
Memories follow me left and right. I can feel you over here. I can feel you over here. You take up every corner of my mind. What you gonna do now? Ever since the
Welcome back to the queue. Michael Sinclair, state senate candidate in District 2 here in the St. Charles County and Lincoln County and all these areas out here. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, because this man is coming for Nick Shore. He's coming for John Weeman. He's coming for those Republicans out there, and he's our guest today here on the Q. I really appreciate him coming on the show, hanging out with me, Jason, and Mike. But, Mike, we didn't talk about this off the air. And I kind of sandbag people with this on purpose. It needs to happen for a reason, okay? There's two things. All right, now, before we start this, I'm going to give you like a sample question, okay? Sample question, so you can see what we're talking about. But it's time for you to go on the hot seat. And that the rule is on the queue, the first time you ever are on the show, we have to put you on the hot seat. The hot seat is 5 questions, randomly picked. You don't know what they are? I haven't even picked them sometimes before you even sit down. And you just got to answer them off. It's a way for us to get to know you a little bit better, a little deeper. Some questions that maybe you don't typically handle, okay? I'll give you a good example, all right? So for everybody out there who's not used to that, we haven't had the hot seat in a while. We haven't had a new guest on the hot seat in a long while. So, Mike, you're from India originally, correct? Every time I see these viral videos, it's the little midget Indian guy doing karate kicks on everybody, okay? What's that guy's name? First off, what's that guy's name?
So I haven't seen that video.
What are you talking about? You're from India. There's no way. Everyone in India knows who this guy is, right?
So
it's the same guy that's in all the superhero movies, and then he's always got the midget sidekick, the really short guy. You've seen that? You've never seen these videos?
No.
You've got to be kidding me, guys. You've got to be kidding me.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This is like massive. No. This is massive viral stuff from like 12 to 15 years ago. Like this is
like
massive.
a billion people over there.
No. That's what I'm saying. There's a billion people over there. Stop this.
1.3 billion to be exact. So Mark, keep in mind that I've been here.
I'm going to introduce all three of you to something from 12 to 15 years ago that you should have saw the first time everywhere.
So keep in mind,
you'll see it.
I've been in America.
And then you'll go, I know what that is. Sorry.
Are you sure it's karate?
No, I've been in America for 22 years now. So
right, that's okay.
I'm a little out of.
That's okay. You were probably online, though, and you know a lot of people from India that probably shared this viral video. This is what I don't understand. There's a billion people.
1.3 billion.
Okay. All right. So that's the Budweiser hot seat. That's the hot seat. That's why we do it that way.
Wait a minute. Is it a little kid, like a midget kid?
No, it's a man. It's a grown man, but he's only this tall, and he does karate with this other very famous Hindi or Bindi or whatever they call the.
I have no idea.
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
But
if when I show it to you, you tell me if any of three of you, especially you, if you look me in the face when I send this video to you and you go, "Oh yeah, I've seen that before," I'm going to punch all three of you because I'm going to be like, "I knew it. There's no way." Okay, all right. So. Let's move forward with the hot seat because I want to make sure that we get in your questions and the answers. Okay, so. I'm assuming that you love music, right?
I do.
You do love music. What kind of music do you like to get into? Just give it a little background on this.
Sure. So I've of course in different phases of
question,
life,
guys.
I've listened to different music.
Sure.
And so you'll be surprised to know there was a phase of my life where I only listened to heavy metal.
Wow.
Okay.
Metallica, Nirvana, Guns N' Roses.
Pantera, got it.
I loved them. I still listen to AC/DC.
No, not Iron Maiden. Wait, hold on. Iron Maiden?
Iron Maiden.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Mike, you are losing to Schroer in my vote right now.
Mike has 2 votes.
Crazy.
2 votes.
Him and another
You are
friend.
losing to Schroer as we speak in my head. He is having a debate with you. You are losing. You just said Iron Maiden to everyone. I am losing.
So the top of my list, of course, is Metallica,
okay,
Guns N' Roses,
good,
Nirvana.
All right. So
yeah.
My question was, what song are you currently obsessed with? What song just runs through your mind, or it just comes up out of nowhere? That's your first question.
Oh.
Mine would be Allman Brothers' Midnight Rider.
Midnight Rider's on your mind right now? Like it keeps coming in through your head?
Floats in.
Yeah.
I do like Allman Brothers.
Midnight Rider.
I love the Midnight Rider. But on your motorcycle, right?
No. Oh, I'm just thinking about being on my motorcycle.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like it puts
puts me in a good mood. My hair automatically starts.
All right, Sinclair, you.
This is not something which I think about all the time.
It's okay.
But since you asked me,
pop song.
the first thing that came to my mind is I'll Do My Crying in the Rain by some brothers. I can't remember the name.
I Do My Crying in the Rain.
Is it it's not the Allman Brothers. It would be.
It could be the Allman Brothers.
Do My Crying in the Rain. Do My Crying in the Rain. And who is that? That would be Aha.
No.
Yeah?
No.
Crying in the Rain?
No.
Oh, no?
That's not the one.
Not that. No.
It's not
Everly Brothers.
Brothers.
Everly Brothers. Fair enough. Okay.
It's the one that came to my head right now, so I said it. It's a very nice song.
All right.
But to your point, so there was a phase I used to listen to heavy metal.
Yes.
But then I also love country music. I specifically love Blake Shelton.
Now you're starting to win a little bit more against Schroer. Go on.
What about
I like
Kenny
country.
Chesney?
I like him
American
too.
He's fine. Yeah.
But again, the top
right?
of the list is Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert. I know they are not together anymore, but I love both of them. Their music.
Man, I went to Miranda Lambert one time, and they had Little Big Town there. Woo-wee, that's how I got introduced to Little Big Town. I was like, man, they're good.
All right, now, you're not a Texan.
I'm not.
You are not a Texan by any means, sir, right?
No.
If you're driving with a fetus in your belly in the fast lane and you get pulled over, that's a life in there, right? Texas says that's a life from conception. Moment of, can't ever get rid of it. Can't get divorced if you have one. So I feel like that lady was in the right. I feel like there was... When you hear the word Texas, Mike, what pops to your mind? What are your thoughts on Texas? Tell me about your thoughts when you hear the word Texas. That's your second question.
The first thing that pops to my mind is the Wild Wild West.
You think of the Wild Wild West with Texas, huh?
I don't know why I do. Maybe
it's because we always put cowboy hats on everybody in Texas.
Because I think about the cowboy hat, and then I immediately think of the Wild Wild West. Although Midwest is probably more Wild Wild West than Texas. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Potential.
Okay. But Texas, I think of diversity. I think of... lately, Texas has been in the news for a lot of things that we don't agree with.
Sure.
But usually...
Things we don't agree with. Good call, Mike.
Yes.
Way to phrase that. That's very political of you.
It's funny because you think... You ask that, what do I think of every time I think of Texas?
Yeah, what do you think every time, Mike?
I always think, and this is hilarious... the Pee Wee Herman thing where he just goes,
oh,
the stars are not big and bright. And then everybody goes, he just has to say that part, and all the people around go,
But you know what? I think that's probably true. I bet you if you did that down there, I bet you that could happen.
Whenever you say, what do you think of Texas?
They haven't gotten so crazy yet that I still, when I first, boom, if someone says Texas, still think football.
Still think football.
Still think football.
Okay.
They haven't made
I think that was Oklahoma.
I always think of San Antonio. For some reason, San Antonio pops into my head every time I think of Texas. I don't know why.
The Alamo?
I was there.
It could be the Alamo. It could be the Riverwalk.
I've been to the Alamo. I was in San Antonio over the New Year's vacation. So I love that place. Yeah.
All right. Question number 3, sir. What is a modern trend? Something that we have today, right? That you absolutely hate. You just dislike it. It could be some new thing. It could be technology. It could be whatever.
I wish my boys are hearing this or get a chance to hear this. The amount of time that youngsters are spending on screen and not...
That almost ties into mine. Keep going.
And not spending in real life conversations, interactions is scary. And if we don't do something about it, the youngsters will lose on what the value of human interaction.
What about their way of thinking, like their thought process? Don't you?
Yeah, they're getting clips and pieces. They're not even getting full context sometimes of things.
Right,
and that becomes their reality. So
if you watch something for 8-9 hours,
are we building conspiracy?
You start believing. Yes.
Maybe we're just building people that think in different ways.
Yes.
Because really, you can't.
But I feel like
through a problem,
they could be easily pushed
on anything.
I feel like they could be easily pushed because if I take something out of context, throw it up for 15 seconds on a clip on TikTok or whatever like that, your view of it is not the same as if I was sitting in class and the teacher taught me leading up to it, and then what happened after. Like, there is not that. And so now, whatever you feed me, I believe that. Oh, that's it. And so now, when we go down the conspiracy angle, I go, wait, now it's going to be easier to push these Trump-style conspiracies and BS on these young people because of it. All I need is 15 seconds, and it doesn't even have to be true or in context, and I'll take it. I'll take it for what it's worth.
And when you watch it hour after hour, day after day, it becomes your reality because you didn't have a chance to go out and validate it. You saw it, you believed it.
Right.
Mine is all the ads. Mine is so many ads. Ads on everything. Ads for every YouTube video. Ads for every phone call. Ads for everything. Ads. Hate it. Absolutely hate it.
I'm glad you just mentioned that. Does anyone remember the movie Major League 2?
Sure.
You lost me at 2.
Do you remember that there was Charlie Sheen pitching baseballs in a movie?
There's a scene in that movie where I can't remember it's Corbin Burnson's character. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he buys the team. And he's running out of money. And there's a scene where they come out of the dugout and they look out in this outfield. And all along the outfield walls are ads. All over the walls. And it's supposed to be a comedic break at that point. It's like 1991, 92.
But it's the real deal now.
But now, It's almost like
It's the reality.
movie theater.
Idiocracy is now starting to like. We
Right?
don't have Camacho, but we had Trump, which was kind of like that.
Kinda close.
And now everybody loves to just eat fast food and get it delivered constantly. So
Right?
like we're going down these
Well,
roads.
that's the normal progression. I mean,
You
look
know,
at Japan or any place. If there's a space, then
for what
there's
was
room for
gonna be
advertisement.
funny, now owners are like, yeah, there's ads everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Question number 4, sir.
Yes.
Question number 4, Mr.
Yes.
Sinclair.
Yes.
You're from India.
I am.
What part of India?
New Delhi.
You're from New Delhi.
Born and raised in New Delhi.
Is that
Wow, that sounds
formerly
big. That sounds like a
Bangladesh?
big spot.
Bangladesh is a separate country.
Do we? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I
No,
apologize.
it's all good.
I thought that New Delhi's name was a different thing before.
So
What
New
was it
Delhi
before?
is the capital city of India.
Or is that Constantinople?
That was New Amsterdam. That was New York. Used to be New Amsterdam.
Well, okay, I know that.
No, I'm just kidding.
But going okay, so anyway, you're from New Delhi.
Yes.
And we were talking off the air earlier about Slumdog Millionaire and all these other things. I have a question for you. What do you miss about India? It's been many years. You live there. You grew up there. You know the place like the back of your hand.
I bet you I know what the answer is already.
What
You do?
is
Let's
the
see.
thing that you miss the most about India?
So I've been here 22 years. You're right. The one thing that comes to mind is the street food, which
Boom! I
is so
nailed it.
readily
It's always
available.
it. It's
I
always the
nailed
street
it.
food.
I walk
nailed
out
it.
of my house.
I knew it was going to be that.
And within 5 minutes, there are like 10 different vendors.
Yeah, but they're cooking up weird stuff over there, are they not, man?
delicious
I mean, I
stuff.
told me the chicken, but do they got snake? They cooking up
man.
snake, alligator, things like that.
So that's probably.
I'm asking. I'm
No,
just
you're
asking.
right, and I'm glad you asked because that helps me clarify. No,
Because think about it, we don't have that here in America.
Alligator
Nobody walks around a white dude just cooking up alligator to everybody.
Never been to Florida, I guess.
Sure, I guess.
so alligator and snakes are not common in India at all.
Well, right, but
yes,
scorpion,
chicken-
right? Scorpion.
No, chicken and lamb is very popular.
Lamb,
So you could
okay.
literally walk 10 minutes and have a vendor
Shawarma.
who can cook.
Shawarma, is that what shawarma is?
I'm not a big lamb guy. Unless I'm
Sliced lamb, right? Shawarma.
That's
slam
And sometimes you want to eat the street food over a good restaurant because the kind of taste that you will get in that open air
It's
cooking,
like seasoned
you don't
flavor.
Get, you don't get that in a
you
restaurant.
ain't lying.
Yeah, I'm kind of mad. Okay, first off, we love to take things from other countries and Americanize them, right? I love crab rangoon, right?
Well,
Hold it, yeah. But listen, I love crab rangoon, right? I love street tacos, right? I don't know why there's not people selling food on the street constantly everywhere I go. Like they're just out there selling food. Like, why is it in all these other countries, by the way, thousands of years older than America will ever be, right? They're at the point where they're like, yeah, we'll just sell street food. It doesn't matter. Any time of the day, we're just cooking, right? America's like, no, you need to be in bed with your socks on by 9 p.m. Like, I don't understand.
No, America says, how can we make money off you? We can't? And then no.
All right, last
Let's
question.
start a petition.
Last question for my friend Michael Sinclair over here before he gets out of here. Michael Sinclair.
Yes.
People sleep naked sometimes.
Yeah.
Why?
Are you saved?
Why do they sleep naked,
That's your
Michael?
question.
I want to know the question. That's the question. That's the
You
question.
said any question.
People sleep naked. Why, Mike? Why do they do this?
You kept the best for last.
I did.
I also, once in a while,
Okay.
like to sleep naked.
To go commando. He's
Because-
a commando kind of guy.
Because again, we are in the land of the free. I want freedom.
Right.
I don't.
Do you ever walk out to your backyard and just pee in the middle of the night in the backyard just because you can?
No.
You should. You should do that every single month.
Off the air, I will give you the answer to that also.
No. Tell me on the air. Tell me on the air. No. Wait, whoa. This is part of the question.
Officially, no.
The show is on the air for a reason. Is it a yes or no? Like, you said you sleep naked sometimes. He gave me that answer, which is the answer to the question I asked. But now I'm just asking on the slide. Like, do you
so
ever?
Mark, on your last question, did I pee in my backyard? I cannot confirm or deny it.
No, I understand, Mr. Manchin, that you really listen, Miss Sinema. I understand that you want to plead the fifth to everything, Mr. Flynn. Are you sure, Michael Flynn, you want to do this? Are you sure?
I may have.
I'm just saying. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to first off, I want to thank Michael Sinclair for being on the show with us today. Thank you so much. If people want to find out more about you and your campaign and your everything that goes on with you, where can they go?
I have a website. It's called it's www.sinclairforsenate.com.
For is FOR?
FOR.
Okay.
And through my website, you can connect with me on the Twitter. You can connect with me on the Instagram. You can connect with me on the Facebook. Please take some time look at my website, see what my platform is, see what my ideology is, and please give me suggestions.
Yeah, I find it really
I
weird.
want to know what people want.
I find it really weird in 2022, guys, that there isn't like an app for your phone, and we can talk about this off there, or a website physically where if you're running,
I think there is.
But I think it's sectioned out to Republicans have their own one, and then Democrats got theirs for like the counties, the city. Like, I don't think it's one place where like anyone who's running, we can just bring them up. It bullet points out exactly what they're running, like their platforms are, like what they're for, what they're against, everything like that. Gives a little bio, just like a little paragraph, a little bit of background on him, like he went to college, got his degrees, all that.
I think there was once upon
So
a
there
time.
are two websites that are doing it right now. They are bipartisan. One is Ballotopedia.
Ballotopedia can do it.
They will take all the candidates.
Ballotopedia.
Yes, ballotopedia.com. They take all the candidates and they will, exactly what you said, a little bit about that candidate,
See?
their
I knew
platform,
there was something.
Republican, independent, and then people can see and connect with them. And there's one more, vote.org or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Similar concept.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come sit down with us while you're running for state senator here in Missouri. Make sure you guys all go out and vote for Michael Sinclair. That's Michael Sinclair, and it's Sinclair for Senate?
Sinclair, I'm running for Missouri Senate.
No. Sinclair4senate.com, right?
Sinclair4senate.com is my website.
That's
yes.
right. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Sinclair, thank you so much,
Thank
Mike.
you.
I appreciate you
Thank
being
you
on the
for
show.
coming.
And we will be back with more me, Jason Kull, and Mike Eise right after this. .3 FM at 1280 AM KYRO. This news radio, KYRO.com. Every single Saturday, 1 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me here, Mark Bland, the host of The Q, along with sometimes Mike Eise, sometimes Jason Kull, sometimes Michael Sinclair, as you just heard here on the airwaves. Thank you so much to him for coming in and spending some time discussing with us all the parts of his life, including his Senate run that he is trying to do currently here in the state of Missouri, his life in India, and all of that around it. I appreciate Michael Sinclair. Thank you so much. But
I like that guy.
I do like that guy. I think that Mike has got a good head on his shoulders. I think that he is going in the right direction with things. And by the way, to any Republican candidate out there who might be hearing this and going, well, this isn't fair, I want to be, you're more than welcome to come on the Q. We are more than welcome to have John Wieman, Nick Schroer, anybody else who's in any primaries. If you would like to, you can be a Republican and come on the show. Just get a hold of us, Mark at theqnow.com, TheQNOW.com, Mark. M-A-R-K.
It might be fun for them to take other questions.
Yeah,
ones that
it might
they're
be
ready
something
for.
unique or different. You
Used
know what I'm
to.
saying? I'm sure Mike's got some questions for some Republicans.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
you?
definitely.
Guys, we can't get away from this January 6th stuff as much as we'd like to, and Jason brought up off the air. The Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos says Donald Trump called him last week in another push to decertify the state's 2020 election results. Former President blasts official as a rhino,
Right?
who is letting Democrats get away with murder.
What is he?
Okay, so
How
Robin
can it be
Vos,
real?
Robin Vos is the Speaker of the Wisconsin State Assembly. He said former President Donald Trump asked him yet again to throw out Biden's 2020 victory in the state. It came after Wisconsin banned absentee ballot drop boxes, which had favored Biden in a tight race won only by 21,000 votes. And that's in Wisconsin. Vos said he rejected the request because it was against the state constitution as Trump blasted the lawmaker on his social media platform. Trump called Vos a rhino who was helping Democrats and warned the speaker that he could stand to lose in the state's primary race. Now, okay, let's digest this for a second. First off, Trump calling anyone else a rhino is kind of funny. Okay, because I have 30 years of Oprah interviews and everything prior to your campaign where you literally basically said that you were a Democrat and that you would purposely run as a Republican in name only, specifically because you could get away with it, like that party.
There's one video where Trump says that he likes the Democrats better because things just seem to run better whenever Democrats are in.
They are. Like, ladies and gentlemen, your gas, I know, it went up high. I understand supply chains from COVID are still crippling our country. It's not Joe Biden who did any of this to you. Joe Biden was running for president when COVID was going on. Joe Biden was not president of the United States for the 4 years where Trump was decertifying this and changing up NAFTA and all these other things that led down these roads. By the way, all of you've kind of forgotten, Donald Trump did a lot of tax reform moves in his first year that are getting ready to kick in the next couple of years. So watch your taxes in April. Because if you thought that this was a situation, you're going to end up getting screwed on your taxes, and then you're going to be really, really mad about it, and you're going to try to blame Joe Biden and Democrats and everybody else. And unfortunately, it's moves that were made in 2017 and 2018 by Donald Trump that literally affect your taxes.
And he gave huge tax breaks to everybody.
Who are his friends?
All the middle class and lower class tax breaks have expired. They expired whenever he was leaving. If he wanted them to go in, he would have to re-up them, but he didn't get
he thought that he could run that on his campaign.
Right,
if you remember, he said, you hire me again, you'll be able to get this stuff again.
You know whose tax breaks didn't expire?
Who's that?
All of his buddies.
Yeah. Ooh, all those rich people?
Billionaires' tax breaks, they are still
those were like 15 or 20 years.
It hurt the income of the United States, put it that way. I mean, it was...
Well, and Joe Biden's not Chancellor of Germany or Prime Minister of England, and look at their gas.
Well, yeah, and also Joe Biden said, we need to roll all that back and tax those people that we gave tax cuts to just because they're million and billionaires. They still need to pay taxes. And then what does the Republican say? He's trying to raise taxes. Listen to this guy. He's a tax guy.
See?
No, he just wants them to go back to paying what they were, which wasn't even their fair share, but at least something.
So it's really simple, ladies and gentlemen. The reason you have inflation and problems right now is mostly because of COVID. COVID shut down the world.
Right.
This is why your grocery stores have less supply in food. There were companies that existed in 2019 prior to COVID that were doing, we thought, fine. Probably paycheck to paycheck businesses. They were the ones supplying all this and that was going on your shelves. And when COVID hit, they realized really quickly they couldn't keep up. They folded. Those companies are gone now. Yeah. New companies are going to have to come along and replace them. And that's how your prices are going to get driven down. Yes, capitalism, I get it. I'm explaining it to you as we speak. But you guys also have to give time. We talked about it on the last show. And I'm going to say it again. I think it's really important to repeat. Time. You need time for things to fall out. And we are getting through that time right now. It's just while Joe Biden's your president. It's during his term. It's during his years. It's going to be tough. Things will get cheaper. Gas is going down. It's not down to $1.85 yet. It's not down to $2 a gallon yet. But guys, it's not $4.80 anymore. It's now $3.80. So we're making moves in the right direction. Supply chains will open back up. And I even said on the last show, by the election in 2024, I feel like things will feel more like prior to COVID, life-wise, on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. When you go to the grocery store, it won't be unstocked. When you go to get some food at a local fast food place, there won't be as many issues with getting staff and things like that. Like, these things are like slowly working themselves out.
Well, talking about things being more expensive, the House passed an anti-price gouging bill.
But nobody's going to pay attention.
That was set up to stop what exactly is happening. All Republicans voted against it, and the Republicans in the Senate blocked it from being voted on.
Here's where I have a problem. You made a comment earlier, and now you just brought this up, where the states, we were talking about guns earlier, and I thought that the federal law was the superseding law to be a part of it's called the United States. They make a charter with each state basically saying you can be a part of our country, the United States, or you can be your own country. Now, if you want to be a part of our country, we have these rules. And one of the rules is we are the federal government. We supersede your state rules. Like, that's the point of why we're in the position we're in. And everyone signed off on this. Now, I'm sorry if you're willing to take a fifth grade educated guy who was in a war called the Revolutionary War in 1776, and every word he wrote down, you take that as like God's hand to paper of everything that you need to believe in because you're a constitutionalist. But a guy who was 100 years past him making these rules, that guy's a complete moron. And you're like, wait a second, I'm not cool with this. Like, wait, I don't understand. I don't get that. This is a situation where if you're a part of the United States, you're a part of the United States. If they have a superseding rule, I'm sorry, this states' rights stuff is cool in certain cases, but this states' rights on, I'm just going to ignore the rule for federal gun for background checks. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just going to write my own laws.
That's for assault.
But hear me out. I'm going to write my own laws. I don't care if it's a handgun and you're buying it in an alley behind it.
That's not.
I can just hand you like a piece of paper. I don't care. The federal government's over here. It's like, no, we have strict rules for these things that need to be done first.
But
no,
they
we're
don't,
just
though.
we wrote our own.
They don't have strict rules. They don't. They only pretend to. They go, we have background checks for assault weapons, which is very few.
Right, because
weapons.
Congress has always had Republicans that stop all these things.
Also, it's for places that sell weapons, so it's not for individuals. So
for sure.
There's all these little loopholes. So they are following the laws of the federal,
Jason brought up
tons of loopholes.
Jason brought up what he brought up, and once again, it seems like it's the state's just making a choice. Like they're going to be against this on their own for whatever reason, and that's what we're dealing with abortion. Like, I don't understand how. So it was never codified, Roe versus Wade. No. It was never a legal law one way or the other.
Right.
Okay, but when it was the opinion of the court held it over here, it was like, oh, it's like a law. Like everyone has the freedom to do abortions and like certain states won't, but like at the same point, like abortions are legal. The minute it became over here, it was all of a sudden it was like, oh, the law has changed. It's like, no, there's no law that changed. So what is the issue? Like, where is this stop? Like, why not? All of a sudden, it's like this state that was already doing stuff when the opinion was the other direction. They already had these things, these set up. Like, where was the big change? Why was there a big fracas about it? Only from the liberals. And simply because they know that once they change this opinion, we're back to this 9 people that control 330 million. It's not literally always about women's rights. Some of it is. Obviously, a majority of it is when it comes to Roe versus Wade. But a small piece of that that's very important is this is also like 9 people being able to hold power over 330 million.
Right.
It doesn't seem fair, right, or just.
And use ideology and not law.
You're taking away people's rights. You're telling them they can't. Yeah. Where in the other hand, what was happening was they were saying, this is okay. Now they're saying, you can't. So to me, that's restricting people. Oh, we hate government overreach, but that's
if it's
exactly
not a law,
what you're doing.
why are you creating a law, Governor Parsons? Why are you creating something that is a litigious thing?
Right.
When even the Supreme Court of the United States, with regard to this specific topic, refuses to codify it and turn it into a law because I know the reason. I understand why you're not doing it. It's too divisive of a topic.
Right.
It would be like saying, we're going to strike religion out of the Constitution. We're just going to rewrite the Constitution, take all religious references out of it. Dude, that would literally divide the country. Like, really divisive things,
Let's
I get it.
think about this, though. Would it be terrible? Would it be terrible if we... Somebody said this once to me, and I thought, you're nuts. But then after I thought about it, maybe they're not nuts. Think about this.
All right, let's hear it.
What if we did split the country right down the middle? And one half was liberal and one half was Democrat and Republican.
Which, first off, would we use the river as the base? Would the Mississippi be the base of the split?
Maybe. But
because it's more north-south that's the issue, not east to west.
Would that be so bad? That actually wouldn't be bad. Because I feel like
where would you live?
I feel like the Democratic side would be so much more prosperous.
Now, if we did it along the river.
Yeah, exactly.
Hear me out, boys. If we did it along the river, right? Missouri would be part of obviously with California and the West Coast being so liberal, I feel like the left side, right? That side, the west side of the river is going to have to be the liberal side, and everything Kentucky in that way is going to be Republican. Now here's the problem. Now here's the problem. I know Missouri's way too much of a red state to really play along with that, and I feel like, Mike, you would just immediately move to Colorado anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Out of here so quick.
Yeah, you'd be in Colorado before tomorrow. Like I'd call this day and be like, yeah, I'm in Boulder Springs right now or whatever. Like just choose them.
I'm over on the
I don't think Colorado would be bad.
No, that'd be all
but
right.
Now, if we went north south. Would it be Iowa and up? Because Missouri.
He goes, I don't want to be the liberal north.
The problem is there's so much red through that center.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is. Like, there's so much red through the center. I need, like, above Kentucky and Northeast to move over here with the West Coast.
You'd have to just make it crazy. You'd have to, like, cut up from, like, California.
We might have to divide into four countries.
I don't know. It just seems like it would just I don't know. If there was a Democratic side, I would totally be in on it.
Let me finish off this original topic we started because we're talking about Donald Trump, and he contacted the Speaker of the Wisconsin Assembly and asked him to decertify the state's 2020 election results again.
I know.
Okay, we are literally in the middle of January 6th
It's 2
hearings.
years later.
Guys, we're in the middle of January 6th hearings, specifically about the election that supposedly was stolen, that they now put out hours, and I mean hours of compendium proof that there was no election that was stolen whatsoever. And this man is still making phone calls in the middle of that going on. Literally, they'll have another January 6th hearing eventually. Like, the middle of it going on, and it's like...
Do you think the hearing
separation of reality?
Do we really want a guy running for president again that obviously doesn't know how government works?
Right. Reality.
Or
doesn't even know
how
reality.
American
Jason,
elections
that might
work?
be the most prophetic thing ever said on the Q. I'm dead serious. You just made the greatest point ever to not elect Donald Trump. He had 4 years. Here he is. He doesn't have a clue how elections work, how the processes work. When they told him no, that these things weren't bad, Bill Barr told him directly. Like, everyone has told him, and he still doesn't listen or care or want to be a part of it. It's like, this is maddening. This is a person, and by the way, you've got people in this country related to me, related to Jay, related to Mike. They believe what this dude tells them. They literally believe and love what this man tells them. Mike, do you have someone in your family that is just trumped up by any means whatsoever?
Yes, my brother Roy is majorly trumped up. And the thing that's messed up about that is my brother Roy just loves... Because he knows I'm not a Trump fan. All my other brothers and sisters are not Trump fans. He just loves to dig at everybody. Like, hey, did you guys see this Trump sign? Did you see this Trump sign? Did you see this? Did you see that? Hey, did
What's
you know
up, Brandon?
Biden,
What's up, Brandon?
Biden did that. Yeah, Biden did that. I mean, constantly he's like digging. I'm like, man, I really.
Now, older, younger brother?
Get a brain.
Older?
He's older.
He's older.
He's my oldest brother.
Would you punch him in the face? Could we punch him in the face?
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying that you should punch your brother in the face. And Roy, I don't know you, so please accept my apology if you think that was in the wrong sense.
Well, he's a Marine. He was a Marine. So.
Well, and that's fine. Like, we don't have problems with that, but I just find it weird that these people were able to get screwed in their heads the way that they did.
Right.
Hey, here's the deal. I got to take a quick break here on the Q. When we come back, more with myself, Mike, Eise, and Jason Kull. We'll be back on the Q right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to theCUBE. Mark Bland, Jason Kull, Mike Eise, sitting right over there. Hopefully you guys are having a good time here. Listen to us on KYRO, doing the thing right now as we speak. And I've got an issue, gentlemen. I got a bit of an issue. And that issue is simply the fact that when I was a kid, right? You guys are older like me. Jason, you're older like myself. So you understand these things. We've been around the block a few times, all three of us. And hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from on this. When I was a kid, summertime, right?
Right.
You had your 3 months off, basically, before you had to go back to school.
Seemed like a year back then.
It seemed like a year back then. But I always had to have someone watching us, like a cousin or maybe a babysitter, something like that, because we were young, obviously. But this is the reason I brought this up. It didn't matter who was watching us. Very rarely did I go up to the babysitter or go up to the person that was watching us ever and go, I'm bored. I ain't got nothing to do. What do we need to go do? Come on, let's go do something.
Never.
Take me to go do something. Let's go do something.
They would say, beat it.
But now, as a parent, living here now, and I understand I have a unique job as an on-air broadcaster. It doesn't make me have to go into a specific office for a specific amount of time or anything like that. There are other things that I do, side work that I do. I've been doing it for many years. But beyond that, I'm at home. So I'm with the kids. Now, my kids are 10 and 13. But they come up to me almost all the time. I'm bored. I got nothing to do. And guys, I didn't even have the amount of video games, YouTube access, social medias, like any of that. I had none of that at the same way. And I think that the problem is, we might have talked about it a little bit earlier when we had Mike Sinclair on. I think that the problem is that these kids are so into those devices now that they have lost a little bit of that interaction. Meeting other people, having to go outside because other parents force the kids outside. So every kid's outside. They're playing baseball. They're playing kickball. These guys are playing hide and go seek. Who am I going to play with? Well, I'm better friends with so-and-so than so-and-so. I'm going to go hang out with these three. Okay, now we're in the creek. Now we're doing this. Like hot summer days, 100 degrees out, but we got crawdads in our hands. Like, seriously, like that's the kind of stuff we were doing.
Right.
These kids don't get to do that anymore. If they go outside, none of the other kids are outside. They're all on their phones inside their houses. They don't have any of that interaction, and it's kind of like getting followers.
Right.
When you first start, you don't have any followers. It takes a time. Like you have to say things to people, and then eventually maybe you get one or two, or you'll meet someone offline. They'll be like, "Let's be friends online." Like it's simple like that. But when you're 10, that's not happening a lot. When you're 13, it's not happening a lot. So I don't know what to tell my kids half the time, and I'm looking for advice. Is there any advice that you two can give me? What are you doing? How are you handling this? You have kids that are younger and older. So you've been through this the last few years.
I told my kids the stories, what you just said, playing in the creek and all those things. The next thing you know, my kids were playing in the creek with their friends and doing stuff outside. But
I mean, I got a common ground area behind my house where if I was a kid, dude, my BB gun and me would be out there every day.
Football and everything.
Blow a firecracker to blow up this piece of wood just to see what it does. Catching, like you said, crawdads or whatever, like for sure. But these kids come to me every day. And they're like, I'm bored. So yeah, they're swimming. I could take them swimming. We might be able to go to Six Flags for a day to hang out or whatever. Like, there's only so much you can do. And I'm not this like super wealthy person. I'm fine financially, but I'm not like super wealthy. So it's not like, let's do this that costs $100 for the three of us. Let's do this for another $100. Let's bop that out for another $100. Like, it's not, I don't have life like that.
Isn't that what we're doing as parents? Just constantly killing time?
You know what? Listen. As I've got
get to point to point.
As I've gotten older, with these cell phones that we have, and the way that we as adults just handle ourselves in these things, I will tell you this: I have sat there on my phone playing a game or whatever, enjoying myself, watching something on Netflix or something in the background, white noise. Do it for an hour. Do it for an hour and a half. Right? Had a great time. I'll stop. I'll get off of it and I'll go, well, now what am I going to do to waste time? Like, literally say to myself, what am I going to do to waste time? Like, yeah, sure, I can pay attention to only so many Netflix shows, but eventually, I've seen a ton of them. I know all the episodes. Like, I don't need to play this game again. Like, constantly trying to find new things to occupy that time. It's easier. It's in my pocket now, like a gun on my hip at all times. But to say, Roseanne used it as a gun. Remember when she tweeted out and lost her entire career over that gun in her pocket?
Right.
Good Lord.
I feel like. So far as you're talking about, like whenever I get bored and I feel like I have time to waste, I feel like I just get things done because like
you like to get in there and just start working on like the house or whatever,
landscaping, gardening, something. I got to get stuff done because I'm not going to waste time. I'm just not going to. Can't do it.
Yeah.
I might power binge watch some show or something like that.
Yeah.
You been watching anything lately?
Well, I recently watched Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's a great show.
Watched, Stranger Things.
That's a good show, too.
Stranger Things. And there was one other one I was watching. God's Favorite Idiot.
Loved it.
Another one.
Loved it. It was great, too,
yeah,
with the big lady and her husband. They're funny. They're very funny.
Good show. So, Alone, also. I watched that one recently, which I've already watched, so.
Now, guys, every once in a while, now that I've been giving out my email address more and more on the show, people are now hitting me back up. And we have conversations all the time. And sometimes in these conversations, people just say things that kind of catch me off guard. But maybe I'm just wrong, because that person's thinking it. They put it out there into the ether. Maybe when I hear it, even if I disagree with it, once again, back to what Michael Sinclair said, that ability. You said Socrates. Tell me the Socrates thing again.
It's a sign of intelligence to hear somebody's opinion and not accept it.
Right. So these people say these things. I might not accept what they say, but I still am willing to listen to them and talk to my friends and hear what and other people might agree with them. So let me throw some of these out there. Now, I don't want to name this person. I should, honestly, because of what he said. But this person said, Ryan Reynolds and The Rock are two of the worst actors of modern cinema.
Nah.
And I disagree.
I don't think they're the worst.
I don't think they're the worst. I'm not sitting there saying that they're like Leonardo DiCaprio level actors by any mean whatsoever.
I think
or Scorsese or anything like that.
They're good at what they do.
Yeah, Ryan's good
Ryan
at being
Reynolds-
funny because he likes to
yeah.
put himself in comedy situations and it
He's
works out.
good in that
And he
role.
learned that from waiting in old movies he used
And
to
I
be
think
in.
Reynolds is funny. I think he's a
The
good
Rock
actor.
does his action movies.
Rock does just fine. I would say I would disagree with that and say the two that come to my mind would be, especially in their older age, they're terrible. Is Schwarzenegger and Rocky. What's his name?
Sylvester Stallone.
Terrible actors. I mean, they're terrible.
Well, and also people have to remember, man, Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Like I could put Jason Statham out there, and I like Statham. I don't mind his movies. I've seen a couple things that are really good, and I really enjoyed him in it. You know what I'm saying? Italian Job was great. Like Statham is in some really good stuff, but Statham himself as an actor, he's kind of monotone. He comes off drone. He doesn't really like the action of the movie physically drives his stuff more. Or that story like Crank, that constant movement, like that drives a Statham movie way more than The Rock or Ryan Reynolds.
Well, that's what separates someone like DiCaprio from them is you could put DiCaprio in one of their movies and he's going to be good, but you can't put Schwarzenegger in a DiCaprio role and he's going to be good
unless it's like a spoof or something.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not a good actor.
Off the top of my head, the only time I've ever seen Sylvester Stallone do something where I was like, "Wow!" Like that wasn't Rocky or
Cop Town
Rambo.
was good.
That's what I was gonna say. Cop Town. He was great in Cop Town as this big, strong.
Was it Cop Town or Copland?
Copland. Yeah,
Copland.
he was great in that. He played this, down.
I actually don't even remember that.
Oh, dude, watch it again. Watch it again.
About it was I hated it. I don't.
You didn't like Copland? Copland was fine.
I think that's what it was. It was slow. I'm like,
now see, this is where these conversations. You guys would be having this conversation. You'd come in and be like, "Copland is the worst Sylvester." Then it ends up on my little list here of things people say. And see, the two of you definitely don't agree, and I don't agree. Okay,
but it is slow. I can see where it was.
This person said, "I will never tell my kids Santa Claus is real because I don't want to lie to them."
I used to have that opinion whenever I was younger, and with my oldest daughter, I didn't want to tell her that Santa Claus was real because I wanted her to be in reality. But
I don't mind if people tell their kids.
By the time my second daughter came around and my third, I was on board. I'm like, you know what? Just let them be kids.
The worst part of that is always the time at the transition in life where they go from believing to not believing. You know what I'm saying? And
that is a time where they're like, you guys have been duping me this whole time.
Right. But here's the funny thing. The funny thing is it's not just that, right? For anybody out there, like, turn the radio off. Like, there's other things that we also have that we have in society that are popular. And so we kind of play along with certain of these things. But they're harmless. Like, it's harmless. No. It helps keep the day-to-days going on for the kids. It keeps them occupied and interested in tradition and things like that. And by the way, some of those things, like you just said, like Santa Claus, Christmas, like those traditions, that template of having tradition and stuff like Thanksgiving, stuff like that, that's great for them. That shows them that there is this natural ability for all of us to like understand a specific schism of things, of how they set up. And this is like something they can carry into life and learn from.
Well, it gives you a few years of being able to control your kids a little better if they're really out of control.
Now, this should be an interesting one. This should be an interesting one. Playing video games as an adult just sucks. I'm not going to lie to you. I had a lot more interest and love in my video games before the age of 20 than after the age of 20. Once I hit 20 and afterwards, life kind of started. Sure, video games came out. There's ones that came out that I love to this day. But very quickly, before I was 30, I would say that natural tendency to want to play a video game when I have downtime went away.
Well, I tried to get into some of those, what's the one, Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
I tried to get into that. It was fun, but I just find that it's too much of a time waster. I have too many things to do.
Well, I can't do first-person shooters very well. I get nauseated.
Oh, I like it all, but I just am, our first-person shooter, the very first one that I ever played, not maybe the first one, but the most exciting one was 007. I loved it.
Oh, GoldenEye was great.
Whenever we were younger, we would all four play against each other and hunt each other down. It was great, man. I loved it.
All right, we're going to end on this note, guys, because this could divide the world. Okay, this is a Mississippi River between Democrats and Republicans. That's what I'm trying to say here. Here we go. Nancy Pelosi is extremely attractive.
Oh my
Whoa!
God.
Whoa! Stop!
Why?
Please, I'm not. Listen.
We're gonna have to get more specific.
A young Nancy Pelosi in her 20s, early 20s, probably looked fine. She probably looked fine. But saying that today, right now, in her 80s, Nancy Pelosi is extremely or very attractive at all.
Wait a minute, is this an 85-year-old man writing this? Because if
no,
so,
I don't think. No. This
old.
was a 30-something-year-old.
You know
man.
what?
Oh God, he likes she likes Grammys.
Now think about this. We're on a Fox radio station, and some dude just said Nancy Pelosi's hot. They're exploding their heads right now. Okay?
Wowzers.
She has huge boobs.
Really?
Does she really? I wouldn't know. I haven't ever seen them.
Right,
Someone posted on Twitter. Not her bare breast, but she had like a grandma
halter top or something.
Like
so
a
Jason,
swimsuit
she
on.
showed you her bare breast.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
I messaged her. And
No,
she was like,
obviously
whatever.
not her bare breast, but
No,
I mean, doesn't
she-
she usually wear like baggy clothes?
No,
and
she
stuff?
was like she
a
had
blouse?
like a grandma swimsuit top on, you know.
Oh, no,
they're just massive and
well.
But she's 80-something years
Actually,
old.
let me do this. Let me do this one. Let me do this last one because I like this last one. This last one is actually pretty good. This person said that all video needs to be a minimum 720p, and I don't care what it is. I kind of agree with this. Okay, I'm really sick of people putting in thousands and thousands of dollars security systems at their company, and then when something happens, it hits the news. I'm looking at their security camera footage, and it is blurry and old and crappy. And I'm sitting there going, everyone has a cell phone that is like gorgeous when they shoot stuff, and we can't get simple security cameras to look clear.
I saw a meme on this the other day, and it said, "This is a picture of Titan, the moon of Jupiter from blah blah blah, and this is somebody stealing a Cadillac converter who you can't see anything on their face at all, but we can see the moon of Jupiter perfectly."
There are pornos from the 70s that are clear,
but you can't see a guy that stole your Cadillac converter.
That's what blows my mind, guys.
Yeah.
That's what the inability. Like I love little things
Let's
like that.
focus on stuff that matters. People.
That inability, like to never have to reload your weapon in a movie, right? The constant shooting always, and then. It doesn't matter how many times they shoot. There's always 1,000 bullets constantly going around everywhere, all the time. And there's no paying attention to the people around. Like in real life, people would like be cognizant of other people potentially and make sure they don't want to hurt them. In movies, no. It's just collateral. Like think about those Marvel movies. We're talking millions of people are dying by the second because Thanos does this or because Captain America just took out this entire building with the Hulk.
It's
It's just crazy.
It's like that superhero show. You know, you don't realize superheroes and the collateral damage they create with their superhero ways.
You're talking about The Boys. Love
The
it.
Boys, yeah.
The Boys is fantastic.
You know
All
what
right.
I want, and one
Is to watch The Boys one time.
I'm going to. It's on my list.
All right.
Is one action movie where the main character or a supporting character says, "Hang on a second, I have to go take a poop."
Nah.
Oh yeah, or it needs to use the restroom while they're running the entire day.
Yeah, like 24.
Like the show 24 blew my mind because it's like every hour, and then I was like sitting there going, "Wait a second! If this dude's day was 24 hours straight up, and these were like his day-to-day things that were going on." Now, mind you, they moved around with the show a little bit, gave you different people with different storylines. But it's like, bro, you just had 3 car chases, took out 2 assassins, plus you got shot at and almost hung by the one guy in the basement. Like it's just crazy. And that's all in 24 hours. That's
you
in one
haven't
day.
pooped or peed once.
Never pooped once. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us on this episode of The Q. I first off want to thank Michael Sinclair. Sinclair for Senate. That's FOR in the middle of that. That's his website. Check that out. Thank you so much, Jason Kull.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate it. Mike Eise, thank you so much, sir.
Term limits for Congress.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we need. Also, check out The Q. That's right. TheQNOW.com, theqnow.com. Old episodes, new episodes, everything in between. We will see you guys next Saturday right here on 1280 AM KYRO. We'll see you.
They were asking if you were around, how you was, where you could be found. I told them you were living downtown, driving all the old men crazy.